Look, folks, from the first moment Donald Trump descended that escalator, called Mexicans rapists, and declared his intention to run for president of the United States, this utter buffoon with no policy experience, no coherent ideas, a despicable past of money laundering for Russians and multiple wives and everything you can imagine. The response from most of us is the guy, it's going to be hard for him to surprise us. And the truth of the matter is, even people like myself who grew up in New York, he would surprise us again and again with how low he was willing to sink. And I really thought at this point, um, I understood everything and he couldn't surprise me anymore. I mean, I figured, yeah, he wanted bad things to happen to all sorts of his enemies, even people on his side he perceives as enemies. But there's still something to the fact of actually seeing it in writing and also seeing the lack of media attention. I mean, it's incredible. So this story, I had missed it because it's almost a week old and I have seen it nowhere. A friend told me about it, a former podcast partner, John Eravosis, and I looked it up and here it is. The January 6th Select Committee heard testimony indicating President Trump, after rioters swarmed the Capitol chanting hang Mike Pence, expressed support for hanging his vice president, according to three people familiar with the matter. Let me try to say that. Not try to say that. Let me say that again. Donald Trump expressed outward support for the rioters hanging Mike Pence, the vice president of the United States, his second in command, his second in line constitutionally, to hang him that day. So that I don't know what the plan then was, how that would make it people decide that Trump should hold on to power even more so because he was such a responsible individual. But as part of their plan of having multiple electoral votes there, so that people would have to choose which ones to accept. When Chuck Grassley tweeted out that he thought he would be the one doing the counting, gee, I wonder why. And the fact of the matter is that he must have been part of the plan to pick fake electoral votes, if not part of an understanding of what Mike Pence's fate would be. We don't know that, but who can know at this point? This investigation just needs to go further and further. I mean, I feel like we're in Alice in Wonderland here. This is utterly insane. This is the United States of America. This is the place we thought was a democracy. I knew there were problems. I knew that we had, years of not treating all sorts of people by gender, race, religion equally. Almost fascist in the South. So I'm not naive, but I thought at least sort of the federal government, we had traditions about power being transferred and the sort of peaceful transfer of power after democracies. And yeah, people cheated around the margins and tried to kind of suppress votes, which is awful and horrible. But in the end, who won the electoral votes won. More info on this is that Mark Meadows, apparently, chief of staff, one who was in direct contact with Ginny Thomas and all sorts of other, Roger Stone and Sean Hannity. So we don't know who knew about this plot because Meadows was like the nerve center. Don Jr. was texting with them. All these folks, all these texts have come out about what they thought he should do. Most of them were telling him to get Trump to try to calm everybody down that day because they realized how bad it looked. But we don't know the extent of what these folks were willing to do. I mean, Ginny Thomas herself sent him something that we must stop the steal. What would that include? Would that include hanging Mike Pence? So when Meadows was in the dining room of the Oval Office with Trump at one point during the Capitol attack, the committee has been told Meadows left the dining room and informed others nearby Trump had signaled a positive view of the prospect of hanging the vice president. Again, I feel like I need to say this again. A positive view of the prospect of hanging the vice president. I am no Mike Pence fan. I think Mike Pence is awful. He's a pander. He's a fake Christian. He and Mother should leave the public stage forever. And really, he's so utterly frickin' pathetic for the fact that he still will stand mostly by Donald Trump and refer to that day as just a day in January. Just a day in January when I was going to have my neck broken at one point. But no. I mean, just the willingness to do whatever it takes to gain power is just so pathetic. And yet, I don't want to hang Mike Pence. Donald Trump wanted to. I think Pence should go to prison. Meadows' account, as was described to the committee, came after some members of the mob converging the Capitol broke into chants of hang Mike Pence. Two people who spoke for this story said the committee has heard testimony on this topic from more than one person, so multiple people. What do you do with this, guys? Why is, I mean, am I reading this in Politico in some small story and it's appeared almost nowhere else? The president of the United States wanted to hang the vice president because he thought he could illegally stay in power, commit a coup, throw people out of power, maybe kill members of Congress, and certainly kill a bunch of them. Like Nancy Pelosi, I assume, would have gotten hung here too. And all this to serve his ego, his narcissism, his base cruelty, his sociopathy, the fact that he's one of the worst effing human beings on this earth. He is Idi Amin. He is Adolf Hitler. He is Mussolini. He's Stalin. He's every awful leader of the past who did anything they needed to do to gain power. How Republicans don't speak out about this. How they don't stand up immediately and say this man cannot be their nominee, even if some other lunatic like Ron DeSantis is or Greg Abbott. What a debased, disgusting, destroyed party. Again, I'm just going to end where I began. Donald Trump wanted Mike Pence to be hanged on January 6th. Just incredible. Hey guys, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll know when we have new videos dropping. Like this, and if you want to leave a comment, a nice, mean, in between, please do. Thanks for being here.